What's up, basement dwellers? Welcome to another edition of the Jersey Fanatics. I'm Chris the Dace Man Dace, and joining me as always, Eric Berezzo.
We're back.
And back from assignment, Tyler Freed.
What up, peeps? I'm back, bitches.
Well, we are back, and the regular season is in the books. Today we talk about the Philadelphia Phillies and their 2024 season, as well as what Red October is going to look like. First and foremost, this has been a roller coaster of a ride. And if you listen to the last couple episodes where Tyler was on assignment, it seemed like doom and gloom was in the air. However, the Phillies finished the season by clinching the NL East and taking the second seed overall in the Major League Baseball. Eric, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the 2024 season?
Well, I started off the season saying that we were going to win the division. That lasted all of like 3 days. And then once when the season actually started, game one, Wheeler was looking really good. Then all of a sudden the bullpen came in and blew it. And I said, yeah, we're not winning the division. So I didn't think it was going to happen, but how they ended up with that first half and doing amazing that first half was exactly the right way to go. Second half was a little disappointing. They went basically, I think it was like 36-36 the rest of the way. So they finished 500 for the second half. But, they grinded it out. They got where they needed to be. Knock on wood, everyone that you care about is healthy-ish. So you're going into the postseason exactly what you want to be at and how you want to be, and you're the number 2 seed. So you got home field advantage until you run into the Dodgers. But yeah, it was fantastic. Absolutely unexpected, and very happy with it.
Couldn't tell that if you listened to our podcast. Tyler, what was your thoughts on the 2024 season?
Never a doubt, baby. Never a doubt. I knew they were going to be where they're at right now. I knew they're coming in. I'm pretty sure we did talk about how they were taking over the Braves this year, and fuck the Braves. They had to basically play a play-in game to get to the playoffs. So yeah, I felt really comfortable about the Phillies. They had a good year. Something about the way they played the year out, it gives me more confidence than the past 2 years in the postseason. I don't know why. It's probably false confidence, but it just seems like they know how to handle the adversity a little bit better this year than they have in previous seasons. Where I feel like
Bohm.
I mean, Bohm just likes to cry a lot. It's fine. It's just he's just a big old temper tantrum, but that's okay. He won't be throwing temper tantrums when he's hitting fucking bombs in Red October. So it's cool. But yeah, no, I don't know. I really liked it was a little bit of a roller coaster in the second half, but we made it where we need to make it, and I'm happy with our season.
And I don't think it's really Phillies baseball unless you have a stressful September. They know that. That is the modern era Phillies, that we're going to make you stress until the last possible friggin' moment, where we spend an entire week thinking they were going to clinch the division on the road, only to just come home and clinch it and then get the bye week on the final game of the homestand there. I'll admit
they saved that so that way me and Eric were there in person. That's what that was for.
That's what I heard. I decided to go Diamond Club on that Wednesday since I missed the friggin' Monday because Jimmy had soccer. So
Mr. Fan Appreciation Day.
Spent way too much money on seeing that, but it was amazing.
It's okay.
It's a fun memory, honestly. Unless you're talking about Dace.
Yeah, not so much.
I mean, for me, like, I still remember when I went in 2011 with my brother. Like, it's one of those memories that whether or not how you felt in the moment right then, 10 years from now when you go to another clincher, you're going to be like, oh, Bryson, remember that time that we went there and, the Phillies clinched, like that kind of stuff. Like, it's a fun memory.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I ended up spending all that money to do it, just for that reason. So hopefully he remembers that. I know I will. But
He'll remember
it was a great time.
Well, it's been a roller coaster this season. I, for one, will fully admit I did not expect them to win the NL East. I thought the Braves were going to win, but I also did hope for the Braves to die, and most of them did die throughout the season. I think that kind of helped us to etch our way into the NL East, because the NL East, surprisingly, was one of the toughest divisions, and we alluded to a little bit that there was a play-in game on Monday between the Mets and the Braves. So I just kind of want to get an overall sense from you guys, and we'll start with you on this one, Tyler. The NL East, is it one of the toughest divisions, if not the toughest division in the MLB today?
I want to say yes. At least this season, it was definitely a tougher division. I mean, you have three really hot teams coming into the postseason right now, between the Phillies, Braves, and Mets, which makes it even, like it makes it that much scarier because you hate seeing division rivals because the Mets could play the same role that we've played against the Braves against us. Like the hot wild card team coming in and dismantling us even though they don't deserve to win. It's which that scares you a little bit, but like I said, I have a different feel for this team, so I don't harp on that too much. But yeah, the only other division that really can compete with us is the AL East because you have like the Yankees, you have Baltimore, and then even the teams that struggled were still pretty good between Toronto, Tampa, Boston. Like they weren't eliminated until like this past weekend mathematically.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's a pretty tough division all around. But I'll give the NL East this year.
What do you think about that, Eric? Do you think the NL East is one of the tougher divisions, or?
Oh, it's definitely one of the tougher divisions for sure. The only like you said, the AL East, but I also was kind of worried about the AL Central too. Just all of them except for the White Sox. Obviously, no one was afraid of the White Sox at all. But
they brought the average down.
Yeah, they ended up having, I think, three of their teams were over 500 for majority of the year at least.
Now, when you say you were scared of them, what do you mean? Like you actually feared playing any one of those teams?
Yeah, like especially the Guardians with Emmanuel, like as the closer just getting in. I kind of knew that he was just going to shut it down, and we really had no real chance at it.
So
And obviously, Detroit Tigers with the freaking uh, Scooble, the Cy Young favorite, like that was one of the only teams that I would say was close to being as, or the division was as close as being as good as us. Like that's the only division that I would say over the AL East. But
I just don't. I don't know. Those teams don't scare me. Like, yes, Kansas City's good. Yes, who actually won? Detroit, they're pretty good, but like, they're they don't scare me. Like, they don't put the fear in like me in the postseason. Like, I feel like every year the AL Central, even the Guardians, like they make it to the postseason, but they're usually like a first round knockout most times because they usually get beat by the Astros and
for the
the
Yankees,
the Yankees, like the generic playoff teams, I guess you can call them.
yeah.
I don't know. That's why like they don't scare me. Yes, they were very good this year, but they don't like when you get to this time of year, teams like that don't necessarily scare me.
But going back to the NL East, I didn't really fear anyone except for the Mets coming on in the second half because they were just incredibly hot since the London series where we started sucking. So it seemed that they were the team, not the team to beat. I felt like we were going to win the division majority of the year, but it was still them coming on and giving us a run for our money, especially in the playoffs. So that game yesterday, the first game of their doubleheader, I was disappointed that they ended up winning because I didn't want them in. And then this, obviously, the second game, I didn't like. I don't care about the Braves at all. They're missing half their team, so they could either have that run that we had in 2022, where they go all the way, and it'll be completely disappointing, but also continue the trend of us starting the season off with whoever eventually wins the World Series, and that's what it's been like for the last 3 years. So every single team that has started their season off against us has ended up winning the World Series. So not great, and that was the Braves this year. So it could be them. They could go on that run, but they don't really, everyone got hurt or everyone had a massively down season. So definitely don't fear them. The Mets are going to be a tough out. Brewers have that young team. They have a pretty good team besides Reese that was really on coming into this year. It was on his new team and coming back from the ACL surgery, so you didn't really know what he was doing. But first half, he had a great half. Second half, he's been Reese Hoskins, exactly who you expect.
And they
So
lost Yelich.
yeah, exactly. So they're not really a team that I fear either. It's the
Well,
Mets. We have to get through the Mets. I don't fear the
the
Dodgers at all.
the Brewers, I mean, I don't know. There's just certain franchises that just like they just live up to their franchise. Like the Brewers are gonna always, they'll make the playoffs. They'll put a really good showing in the regular season, but once it comes to the playoffs, their pitching always disappears. Their hitting is so. But like I just that's another team that's like I would love for them to beat the Mets just so that way we can just run through them because I honestly think they don't have enough pitching to hold up against us.
It's crazy that when the Brewers end up getting that pitching, they end up getting rid of them every single time. Like Corbin Burns was their Cy Young, and then he's obviously not there anymore. He's with the Orioles. So it's crazy that every year they ended up having good pitching. It's kind of like the Rays. They're like the minor league farm for the Yankees or anybody else in the majors, honestly. But Brewers just end up getting rid of their players. They don't try and trade them. They just get rid of them. They don't even attempt to trade them or sign them.
Well, that's what happens when you're one of those mid-market teams. I feel like the Rays and Brewers and stuff like they can't afford to keep Corbin Burns. So once they get to a certain level, you trade them off and you get what you can for them.
Well, hopefully,
before we dive deeper into the postseason, let's talk about one other team that was affected by Monday's doubleheader that felt bittersweet.
Fuck the D-bags.
As they watched their playoff dreams get thrown out the damn window and they had nothing to do with it. The Diamondbacks were eliminated from playoffs last night at like 7:30 at night as they're packing their lockers. How do we feel about that after they have spent most of their season just trolling us because of the NLCS win last year, and now they're not even in the playoffs? Eric, we'll start with you.
According to Twitter, everyone was saying that, because I don't have TikTok, Diamondbacks TikTok was blaming Stubbs for ruining their season. So it was, it's absolutely hilarious. That's what you're going to blame it on, that he derailed your whole season when you had your owner even come out and say that he screwed up by signing Jordan Montgomery. So like that's not a very good franchise, and you're not going to get players to come play for you, especially when you have an owner that comes out and says that. So was it taken out of context? I have no idea. I didn't read the full, or I didn't listen to the full clip. I just see the articles, how they always were. But just to be able to see that they were at the field, all the players were at the field watching the game together with their bags packed, either to go to San Diego or go home. And then you see them all shuffling off the field and just like saying bye. Like, it just brought great joy to me. I don't know. Like it was just amazing to see.
If you have that video, I'm going to need you to forward it to me so I can put a slow version of Dancing on My Own to it and get that out on Phillies TikTok.
I don't remember who the fucking D-bag was that planted the fucking... Was it McCarthy that planted the flag on our fucking field last year? Because I really want a Phillies fan to go fucking take a Phillies flag and go plant it on his fucking beach in Cancun that he's fucking vacationing on because he's a little bitch. Like I don't even think he was on the major league roster this year. I don't think it was McCarthy because I remember it was someone who was not that fucking important and didn't even play against us when we played him because he wasn't even on. He was in AAA. I don't remember exactly who it was. I just remember he's a little bitch, and I'm so glad that he's not in the postseason. Like I'll take a Mets and Braves being in here just because just to not have the D-bags there.
It was
fuck them after last season.
Alec Thomas.
Yeah, the motherfucker wasn't even on the major league roster. I don't think. Piece of shit.
Not to mention they kept trolling us with doing their NL ring ceremony in August when we went there, and then playing all of our hits every time they were picking up the leads. And it's just, to me, it's beautiful and tastes so good that they're on the outside looking in. So I'm going to find that video because there's a lot of songs I want to put to it. Stain.
It's even better that they do blame Stubbs for their loss because good, fuck you guys. Like I hope when you go back and you look at where your pivotal moment was, it was the fact that Stubbs took out your fucking stupid Ketel Marte. I hate that fucking guy too. I'm so glad they're not in the playoffs this year.
It's fantastic though, is that you had Phillies fans blaming Stubbs last year for ruining our season, and now you have the Diamondbacks blaming Stubbs for ruining their season. So back-to-back years,
full circle moment.
Back-to-back years, you got Stubbs ruining some season.
Redemption. They should just let him swim in the pool. Things would have been fine.
Exactly. I hope Stubbs, after we win the World Series, gets a plane out to Arizona and just goes in their fucking pool.
With a flag. Just waving it back and forth. Well, before we roll into end-of-year honors that the Jersey Fanatics will give out to the Phillies, there's two stories that are kind of synonymous with baseball that I feel like we need to address. First, it was the last official and final season of the Oakland Athletics playing in Oakland, which has been, needless to say, controversial because everybody in Oakland decided to show up for the last game, even though they've ignored the team for the last 10 years. How do you guys feel about Oakland not playing in Oakland and playing in a minor league field next year until Vegas gets their shit together? Eric, we'll start with you.
It's a damn shame that Oakland is going to lose the organization. I think it was a great opportunity for them to have that baseball team there. And when they were up, they were up. But this new owner that took over, he's tried to sell the team at least 3 times. And what's one called? Manfred and Seelig both are all 3 times blocked the sale. So you could have had a whole entire different route to where this is going. But you had the commissioner jump in and block the sale. And it was because Manfred is best friends with the owner of the Oakland Athletics. But I'm very torn to where to go because you have the owner that didn't really spend money in order to get to the players. And when they did get players, they got rid of them. Again, like all the other small market teams that do. But then you also had the fans not show up. So who do you blame? Do you blame the fans for not showing up? Or do you blame the owner for not getting the players on the field in order to have a good product to go there and watch? Because you can say the same thing for the Phillies during those tough years between 2013 and 2018 before Bryce came in 2019. No one showed up there.
2022.
Yeah,
nobody cared until they made the postseason.
Yeah, nobody was there. They didn't really show up.
Sellouts in like 2021, right?
No,
I had that year-long standing room only pass that disappeared in 2022 because we started selling tickets.
Because we sold out in 2021, so they got rid of it. That's all I'm saying.
No, I had the standing room ticket in 2022. I went to 81 games in 2022 before they went to the postseason.
Yeah.
So I don't think anyone had faith in them until they made it in, and now you can't fucking get a seat.
And they said there was an article that came out today that actually showed like the lowest attendance, and it was during those years for Phillies. So I get it, like why fans don't show up during that, because you don't want to go out there and you don't want to see whoever the hell we had. We had players that, we had Darren Ruff. We had some awful players that shouldn't be on even AAA.
Leave Darren Ruff alone, all right? He went to Japan. He went to Japan for a year and then became a fucking all-star with San Francisco, all right? Darren Ruff's a terrible fucking example.
Yeah.
You should have said Cameron Rupp, because why do we even have
Andrew
that guy?
Knapp?
I was going to say, how did you not go to Knapp?
it escaped my mind, but
there was so much hatred for him that he shouldn't even been brought up.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was rough. I think it's a massive mistake. I don't think Vegas is going to show up for their fans. Like, I don't even think the Raiders have like sellouts every game. Like, I have no idea. It doesn't seem like it's a home field advantage there. It just seems like it's always away teams that are taking over the stadium. That's what Vegas does. Like, Vegas gets everyone. Everyone goes to Vegas for vacation. So it's not, you don't have your locals, I guess you can say.
See, that's you can't say that about Vegas because them fucking Golden Knight games, bro, they be lit, and they have their own fans. Like that's like a whole ass thing. Like they're one of the best fucking fan bases in the NHL right now.
Yeah, never watched the game, so I can't tell you.
It's because you don't watch the NHL.
Oh, I absolutely do.
Yeah.
Only when they're good.
It's a little easy for the NHL, like for them to build that, because didn't they get to pick from everybody's roster?
Yes.
Like, who they wanted to build the team?
Yeah.
They
Sort
ended
of.
up getting the dude from the Flyers that was pretty good.
I mean, the way that whole to not get too sidetracked, that they have like an expansion draft that essentially the Flyers get to protect 12 people and they leave 8 people unprotected or something like that, and then you get to select one person from each team or like you could select one person from each team, like whatever you want, whatever the number is, and then that's how they get the people. So I mean, yeah, it's not that. It's not like you get like their all-stars.
You had the Seattle Kraken last year or 2 years ago do basically the same thing. They got to Stanley Cup too because of it. So it happens. But yeah, I don't think they should be moving. They're going to an extremely small freaking stadium too. It's like 5,000 fans max, I think they said.
Listen, bro, that's how many fans they've had total for the past like 3 seasons outside of.
If you put a great product out there, people are going to show up.
No, they're not. Not in Oakland. Oakland's a fucking terrible sports town. Why do you think their football team is left? Why do you think their basketball team basically went to fucking San Francisco? Like they don't want anything to do with Oakland. Oakland's a fucking terrible sports town. I am so happy that the Oakland fucking A's are no longer, and they're going to be the Las Vegas fucking Athletics or whatever they name them if they stick with the A's. I personally think it's a great thing for them. I think for that franchise to get out of Oakland, get out of that terrible fucking football field / baseball field stadium that was like falling apart for the past 30 years.
Sucked. Absolutely sucked.
Well, yeah,
to get a new stadium.
You can't blame the fans not wanting to come to see shitty product. The fans don't want to come to a shitty stadium. That's like already the shitty product.
But they were having issues getting approval from the city in order to build a new stadium.
Because Oakland's a terrible fucking city.
All right, well,
that's why.
The other bit of baseball news I want to talk about before we start handing out end-of-year honors is the legend and the hit king Pete Rose passed away last night at the age of 83. Obviously, should be in the Hall of Fame, but, you know, he talks, so there's that problem. Tyler, what are your thoughts on the passing of Pete Rose?
I mean, listen, Pete Rose should have been in the Hall of Fame fucking however many years ago. I hate this whole, he did something bad, so we can't put him in the Hall of Fame. What, bro? Like, he was such a good baseball player that he should absolutely be in the Hall of Fame. You have no idea what these guys in the 20s and 30s were doing. They probably murdered people, and because it's the 20s and 30s, you have no idea. But they're in the Hall of Fame. Like, the Hall of Fame is so stupid. I hate the way that they vote on it. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, I'm not trying to take away from Pete Rose, but like, I'm going to make this a Barry Bonds thing. He should be in the Hall of Fame. You don't hit 700 and some home runs and not be in the Hall of Fame. I don't give a shit if you're using steroids or not. That's still a ridiculous feat. Eric, you can shake your head no, but steroids ain't going to help you go hit a home run.
It did.
That was pure talent.
It did for the game that I came back for you and played softball. I hit that one home run. That was steroids.
Relax.
Well, you know, all those white people that got inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2030 didn't have to compete against Dominicans or black people, so that seems a little unfair too.
It's just, I mean, we could say this for another podcast because I can go on a whole rant about the Baseball Hall of Fame. I do think Pete Rose should have been in the Hall of Fame, but at this point in time, I don't think he should get inducted because now it's just because he died. Like now, like that's a fucking stupid reason to put him in the Hall of Fame. Like either he deserved to be in the Hall of Fame before he passed away for the past 20 years that he's been retired or whatever, however long. Like it's absolutely ridiculous that whatever the fuck the MLB standards are for the Hall of Fame, like they need to get WWE standards. Like, hey, like he's a WWE Hall of Famer before he's a fucking baseball Hall of Famer. Are you kidding me?
And WWE even draws the line in murder sometimes. Jimmy Snuka is in there, so he got away with it. Eric, what are your thoughts on Pete Rose passing away?
It's obviously a shame for the baseball community. He was fantastic at baseball. Like, that's exactly what it was. Unfortunately, he gambled on the team that he managed, and that kind of fucked him over. And then him just nonstop talking shit for the last 20 years. Like, that's going to do it. That's kind of like how.
Rightfully fucking so.
Yeah, well, that's kind of where Curt Schilling's at. You know, Curt Schilling should be in the Hall, but he's not going to be because he's a fucking insane person. So, unfortunately, you got to keep your mouth shut, and you got to, go with the flow of what.
You got to play the politics, man.
Yeah,
fuck
unfortunately,
that.
unfortunately, that's what you got to do.
All fucking stupid.
I agree with you that if they send a letter saying, "Hey, we're gonna extend an invite for Pete to be in the Hall," I think they should turn it down, just because, like you said, like, he's dead now, and they feel bad, or they feel that they should do it, and the lifetime ban's up because he's no longer alive. Like, it's just, I think it's a joke. They should have put him in a long time ago.
And he's been on record several times saying he would not be happy if they put him in after he died. Just because of, like, to your point is, they feel bad now that, I'm gone.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully his family feels the same exact way and doesn't do it just because they feel that his dad should have been there 20 years ago,
Mm-hmm. And it's complete bullshit that Ohtani's still being the face of MLB after all the shit he went through.
It's unfortunate because not unfortunate because he deserves to be there, but, like, it's stupid that it's going to take this to actually put him in the Hall of Fame, because it's going to happen. He's going to get put in one way or another. It's whether it's MLB putting a fucking political or, like, putting just a stunt for it or whatever. But it's this shit. We're going to have a whole podcast on this because this shit gets me worked up, how they deal with the Hall of Fame.
I think it's going to be after, like, Manfred either steps down because of retiring or what, but I think it's going to be the next commissioner that extends the invite to him. So it's going to be like 10 years from now.
It's going to be fucking Manfred's, like, last, like, goodbye. Like, he's going to do that as he leaves, so that way, like, people can look at him in a positive manner, because he's the one that put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Fuck out of here, Manfred. I don't know how many years to do that.
Yeah, he had the opportunity to do it. Right, and that's why, like, the Phillies ended up putting him on the wall, because they weren't going to do it.
They rescind that. He's not on the wall.
Oh, he's not? I thought he was.
He had that sexual abuse case thing, or the allegations pop up the year that they were going to do it, and they pulled the invite.
No shit! Wow. So I was wrong about that. Okay, I really thought
he was supposed to go in. They were going to do a whole ceremony, and then that underage girl thing came out. And then when they invited him back for the 20-year anniversary, the 40-year anniversary of the World Series win, he fucking started shit with the reporter. So he is not good timing when it comes to the Phillies trying to honor him.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's not good. So they'll probably try and put him on again, though.
Oh, he'll be in next year. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
It'll be Mike Schmidt doing the acceptance for him. Anyway, with that being said, let's move on to the end-of-year honors. I want to know who you guys think was the MVP of the Philadelphia Phillies. Who is the Cy Young, which I think we all pretty much know who should be the Cy Young of the entire league. And then just, people who had bounce-back years. And we didn't really have a Rookie of the Year, but we'll talk to it. So first, I want to know, who is your MVP for the 2024 season of the Philadelphia Phillies? Tyler, we'll start with you.
You actually want to know who my MVP of the season is?
And that's all the time we have here tonight.
You'd think I'd say Bryce Harper because of what a great year he had. But statistically, I'm going to go with Kyle Schwarber, because I can go and pinpoint exactly where our season turned around and who exactly did that with a grand slam. But no, Kyle Schwarber was fucking phenomenal this year. He just had another year of 30 and 100 plus RBIs. He had 100 runs, 100 walks.
The leadoff
I believe
record.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
Was that?
He also broke that leadoff record for the
Oh
Phillies.
yeah, the home run lead off the game. Uh, he's an MVP in my eyes because like when he's rolling, the team rolls too. Like I don't know what the exact record is. I know it's not undefeated, but when like I know as a fan, I get fucking amped up when he comes to the plate first to bat and fucking just sends one. So like that, like that's got to get the players going and gets the whole team going. He just I feel like he stepped up. He got his average up after all the shit that was talked last year. Might not have been substantial. It's not 300, but it was 240 ish, I believe, 250.
I think
I
it
don't
was
remember
250.
off the top of my head. Which was way up from his 205 that he had last year. So I mean, to me, that's my MVP of the season. There's definitely I don't like no one person I felt like really stood that far out in front of everyone because you can make a case for at least 3 or 4 people on the team because you can make a case for Bryce and I will agree you can make a case for Nick Castellanos.
The savior of the second half.
I don't know about that, but
Second half savior. When the team was slumping, Nick was bringing them through. What do you have? 5 walk-offs this year?
he
Yeah.
did. He had 4 or 5 walk-offs.
Mr.
And
Clutchianos.
and that's who I'd say was the MVP, which is surprising coming from me. I know.
Get off my dick.
But,
That's my guy.
yeah.
Go
Well,
get your own guy.
I'm taking it now.
No, get your own guy. Go pick, like, I don't know, fucking Andrew Knapp down in the minor league system for the Diamondbacks, where the fuck he landed.
No, the MVP of the full year, if you really want to know, is Scott Kingery.
Yeah, there you go. Scotty Jetpacks.
You guys
Best
are
hitter in
fucking
AAA.
absurd.
The only one that they didn't bring up the whole entire year.
There's a reason he was the best hitter in AAA because he wouldn't have fucking panned out in the MLB.
Welcome
Listen,
to the Jersey Iron
they got a brand new scoreboard that he could have looked at every time he struck out. All right, it would have been in 8K that he could have saw him striking out. It would have been glorious. But no, if I can't have Casty, I'll take Harper again. I think what he did.
No. I want to hear your reasoning behind Casty.
I'd like to
I
hear
can
it.
probably tell you you're wrong.
I think that Casty, I think, has been the most consistent of a hitter for 85% of the year. I'm not going to say the whole year, but I'm going to say 85% because there was a full month, I think it was, that he was god awful and he was swinging at complete dirt. And Dace and I were like, "What the fuck is K Long doing?" Like, I don't know what he's showing him in the dugout when he's going back because he's not showing him strikes. So I don't know what he was doing. But the majority of the time, when you needed a base hit, Casty was the one that was doing it. And then he came in the second half and he picked up Harper big time. Like big time, because Harper, he lost his power all of a sudden because Harper had a over-under number of I think 30 home runs, and he was stuck at like 28 for like 36 games, I think it was. So there was a lot of people that were nervous, pissed, whatever you want to do, that he wasn't going to break that number, and he finally hit 30. But Casty was the one that was driving in the runs and picking up the slack when Harper couldn't do it. So I think Casty was the real MVP of the year and what he contributed to the season. Like, he just came in and he was your typical Philly guy this year, that he just came in and did the work and said some random shit this year that was fantastic in his post-game press conferences, but he was what you wanted him to be the first year he was here.
And he started 162 games straight, which I feel like deserves an asterisk. Like, I know they said it was the first time since Jimmy Rollins, but he did DH a couple games. And if they didn't have that position, I don't know if he would have started 162. Because I think he DH'd the first 2 months, which probably would have been a nice day.
My asterisk was the Toronto game where he got put out in the first game. Like he went out and then the second game, then they put him in for like an inning or two and then pull him again.
Yeah. He had a
Like, I
couple
get it.
games.
I get it in game 162. You can't put an asterisk for that one because, like, anyone's going to do that. A lot of teams do. But,
Mhm.
like, like, there's a couple games in there that I feel like he got pulled a little early that he didn't need to be.
Yeah, and again, if they didn't have the DH, like they didn't have it when Rollins was there, so there was games that he DH'd, but he definitely would have sat had it been 2007 or whenever the hell Rollins last did it. Now, if I'm going MVP, I'm going to go with Mr. Alec Boehm. Even though he's been a crybaby and bitching about hurting his wrist from jerking off too much or whatever the hell he did, he definitely carried the team in the first half. He was the 4-hole hitter, which I never expected out of him, to be honest, and not where like I ideally wanted him in the lineup. But he held up his own in the fucking home run derby. Again, everybody expected him out first round. Like, why the hell is this guy in the home run derby? He did what he had to do to help the Phillies get to the wins that they got in the first half of the season. Because I think even though we had the best record or we were doing really well in the first half, there was a lot of games that like we kind of skinned by the teeth to get out of them. And he was part of that reason of all his doubles and RBIs. So I'm going to go Boehm, even though he's a big crybaby lately, because his boyfriend Marsh broke up with him or whatever happened.
See, I was thinking Boehm. Like, Boehm wasn't, but, like, he fell off way too hard in the second half. That,
That's
like, it
Marsh
kind
broke his
of,
heart.
yeah.
But he still led the league in doubles, didn't he, the whole year?
Didn't he break Marsh's heart? Isn't it the other way around? And then
Loves
he just
a
couldn't
bitch.
recover from that.
Loves a bitch. He hurt Marsh first, then Marsh hurt him back. Probably
Yeah,
both.
Marsh
One of them
banged his
fucked
girl,
Bryson, then the other one
probably.
fucked Bryson later. Who knows? The daycare has some wild shit going on.
Yeah, Marsh didn't even come, or Boehm didn't even. One of them didn't come out to even do the daycare thing.
Marshy did. That's what, like, Boehm's hurt
Marsh didn't.
emotionally.
It was for Boehm, and then Stock came out, did it, and then he's like, "Where's your friend?"
Yeah. See, it's a weird love triangle going on there, and Boehm's definitely at the back end of it right now. The next conversation we're gonna have is who's the bounce back player of the year. So somebody who had a rough 2022 or 2023, and you think came back and did what they needed to do in 2024. Eric, we'll start with you.
I would say it was Boehm. He had pretty bad down year in 2023, but I think he stepped up majorly in 2024.
All right. Tyler,
I
who
thought
was your
Boehm.
bounce
I
back?
thought Boehm had a pretty decent 2023.
He had
I
a rough
mean,
start.
he definitely had a better year this year, but I wouldn't call it a bounce. I felt like he had, like, because he was, like, for a long time he was up there with, like, leading the league in doubles. He was surprisingly up there with RBIs last season too. But I'm could be wrong. I don't know.
Last year's how he started the season with I fucking hate this place, right? Like, so defensively, I think you could say he bounced
I
back.
think that was last year. Yeah, no,
I thought that was 2022 that he had that.
2022, maybe.
Not
He had
100%
that.
sure.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
But defensively, every year that man has grown tremendously. So if we're going that way, I can see that. Like, I would say most improved for sure. He definitely gets most improved just on defense alone because he's a fucking monster at the hot corner now. Like, I don't like when they put anyone else there. Like, I think he's better defensively than Sosa.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mostly that's because Sosa doesn't play the position all the time. But yeah, Boehm's been a killer there.
I would say least improved offensively has been Stott.
That's not the topic,
Listen,
sir.
Listen,
It's most improved or
alone,
bounce
right?
back.
I got a whole thing about Stott before the end of this when we start talking like straight postseason. Most improved this year. Honestly, I don't want to say, like, I feel like Nola is the easy answer to go to, but I'll go Christopher Sanchez because you could give me a look on the whole Nola thing, but statistically, he did have a better season than he did last year. I'm pretty sure.
I hate that roller coaster ride, and I will never get on it.
I know. But Christopher Sanchez, he now that I'm thinking about it, is the very easy answer because he was someone who was in and out of the bullpen last year, And then this year, he was probably our second best pitcher of the season for sure. So yeah, I would go Christopher Sanchez. He was definitely most improved player.
I think he also proved that it wasn't a fluke because he had a strong back
Yeah.
half of last season, and to come out here, get the contract extension, and pretty much like you said, is debatably our second best starter this year.
Like he's just like he was consistent. Like it was consistency. Like he's not dominating every start, but he's just consistent. Like it's
He's dominating every home start.
That's true. Which that brings up a topic that I want to talk about too. But yeah, so for Christopher Sanchez, that's who I would go with.
So I was flirting with two because I honestly thought that maybe you would have went with my first answer, which would have been Trey Turner. Because last year it was rough for him, and what we bought is not exactly what we got until the end of the season. Like we had to wait till August before like the engine fired up.
But you saw what it was, so that's why he wasn't that for me.
Yeah.
Like when you say most improved.
That / bounce back year, because now I think this season is what we expect.
Sorry, yeah, bounce back.
But since you didn't go with Trey, I'm going to go with Schwarber because I hated his fucking batting average. I hated him in leadoff. I hate everything about what he did in the last two seasons. And this year, admittedly, I still don't care for him. But I hate him less than I hate other people who have pissed me off in the past on the Phillies.
Is it because you have his jersey in your closet?
I just want to say I've never figured out a way to clip a sound clip, but I'm going to find a way to clip this.
He improved so my biggest complaint in any of the podcasts we did was his batting average. Like, what good is it if he's batting 160 and 30 dingers? So, okay, we're going to be happy 30 times in the year, and that's it. But he was consistent. He showed that he was trying to improve. He was pulling it to different areas of the field, and he got to a consistent basis. Yeah, he didn't hit as many home runs as he hit the last 2 years, but I'm okay with still being above 30 and being 250 batter. Like, all right, am I still a fan of him being leadoff? No. Just because I feel like if he could carry that over into the 4-hole or even the 3-hole, if Bryce got the fuck out of the way, he could do more damage to other teams with RBIs, especially if you have the right combo in front of him. We lucked out that I think our back end of the roster, the 7, 8, and 9 position, kept getting on base for him, which I don't know if we're going to be lucky like that every fucking year for him to be leadoff, but...
No, not at all. And that was the biggest thing I noticed with him this year was the fact that, like, he was getting hits and actual RBIs, not just solo home runs, which was that would piss me off about him too, because it always just seemed like the only time he could hit a home run was when there was no one on base. And if there was someone on, he was like grounding into a fucking double play.
Yeah. And he looked like he lost weight. He thought he could run as fast as Trey. Like, the little engine that could. It was amazing.
There was a couple times he got thrown out.
Weird little beady eyes though. Like I don't like it when the camera pans to him in the dugout. I just like want to punch him in the face. But even when he does interviews, for whatever reason, he's just like, if he was on any other team, he'd be the Brandon Nimmo to me. Like, just fuck this guy.
I'll get it. I understand.
But he's our Brandon Nimmo. So go ahead, Mr. Tryhard. Next, we're going to kind of give the Phillies Cy Young. I think it's probably unanimous of who we think the best is. But I'm going to open it up to everybody. So both starter. I don't know if you want to do like your favorite starter and your favorite bullpen guy, or if you just want to say pitcher overall. Tyler, we'll start with you.
I mean, we'll go. The obvious Cy Young, if we're going just straight Cy Young, it's Zach Wheeler. Like, he's the Cy Young of the season for the NL, in my opinion. So he's obviously our best pitcher. If I had to go, like, if I'm going to pick like a bullpen guy that really, like, I don't want to say surprised me, but had a great fucking season, it's Hoffman. That man, like, outside of like a little stretch that he had, I believe in the end of July, beginning of August, he was fucking just kind of clutch for us. Like, he was like the consistent piece that you could go to between him and Strom and just get out of innings. Like, you if you put him in, you were getting out. Like, he was getting the hold, or what they call it, whatever. And I noticed towards the end of the season, Mr. Rob Thompson seems to have a little system going there where he's the setup guy, where they kind of like he's the setup for Estevez, and then they have Strom going in the 7, which I don't mind that at all. Like Strom being the high leverage guy, and then Hoffman being the setup guy.
Estevez scares the shit out of me every time he comes in.
No,
But
I think he's got a different. He's going to have a different year in the postseason.
but I think for sure Wheeler is the best on the team. Also the best in the NL. Yeah, his categories may not all be better than Sale, but I think
Shows the fuck up.
yeah, he shows up when he's needed, and he knows how to get that big win when it's 100% needed. So I have more faith in him. I believe that he deserves to be the Cy Young. He also got fucked a couple years ago, so kind of have to owe it back to him. But like I've been texting with you guys all year, the number one reliever that I had faith in was Hoffman too. So it was just no matter what situation it was, if it was, runner at third with no outs, I had no fear that Hoffman was going to be able to get all 3 outs without that guy scoring. So he was the one that I depended on the most, and I had full faith in that he was going to be the best to be in that spot. So yeah, he was definitely my best bullpen arm.
I'm going to spice it up. I'm going to go with Sanchez. And the reason I'm going to go with Sanchez is Wheeler, it's expected. Sanchez, I was scratching my goddamn head why the hell we were giving him a contract extension over Ranger Suarez at the time. I'm glad I was wrong. Because if Ranger got that extension and Sanchez didn't get that extension, I'd be marching to a different tune right now. And then when it comes to the bullpen, I'm going to go with Strom. Hoffman obviously is phenomenal and probably edges out Strom a little bit. Both were all-stars. I just like Strom because he has long hair. And he gets really fucking heated if he fucks up, which I think is funny. But
Strom is just like I love Strom because like when he's on, he's just going at the hitters. Like he's not finessing anyone. He's just full rush. Like you're either gonna hit it or you're not gonna hit it. And like I don't know, as a pitcher, like for a pitcher, I respect the shit out of that. Like if you're gonna be a guy that's just gonna go at fucking, Marcelo Zuna or Manny Machado or like those kind of guys, and you're just Otani, and you're just gonna go out there fucking hotspot and just fucking listen, bro. I got good shit. Try to hit it. Like I love that kind of pitching, and I mean, it's gonna burn him every once in a while, and it has. But this year, it hasn't been in bad situations for the most part. So I live with that.
I think the real Cy Young of our team is coming back on Saturday.
Thor?
Spencer Turnbull.
Oh. Vance Worley.
I mean, if we're going like anyone's like 5-game or 6-game stretches of the season, I mean, you could probably put him up there. Like if you wanted to go like a stretch. But I mean, if you're going stretches, I mean, the fucking before Rangers' goddamn family showed up, he was on a run of a lifetime. Like I honestly didn't think he was ever going to be hit or anything. Like I didn't see this second half of the season happening with how he began the season.
He was having too much sex.
Or he finally had to deal with his kids. Those little fuckers will fuck you up. I got weird pains in my knees, and I don't even do anything. I'm a computer guy. Like, what the fuck?
You coach soccer now, bud.
Yeah, that was a mistake. I ran too much. Anyway, the last conversation we'll have about 2024 recap before we head into the postseason is, and we kind of talked about it. Well, his name came up. I don't know if he'll be the guy for everybody. The guy that kind of had a season that took you by surprise. I don't want to say a guy that just fucking sucked, but like a guy you expected a lot of, but maybe didn't hit that goal. We're going to be nice because we're trying to stay optimistic this call. Eric, we'll start with you. Who is the player that you had expected more from, but didn't really reach for that brass ring as Vince McMahon?
Oh, God, I had so much faith in Taijuan Walker.
Fuck out of here. Every goddamn podcast. Oh, he's gonna win it. He's gonna win both games this week. You cursed him, so maybe you should be disappointed in yourself. Go on.
So much freaking faith in him. I really thought, you see the Twitterverse basically rehash all the old tweets, like Taiwan saying, "Oh, I'm more motivated than ever. I'm coming back next year with full fire," and I'm so disappointed on how it ended last year. So I had full faith. This guy, like I saw the workout videos. Like you're not familiar with Ben Simmons really, but that's all he put out. Ben Simmons every year put out workout videos in the off season. So you saw him doing shots from three, half court, all sorts of stuff. You thought he was doing amazing. And then he came up and he sucked. But that was the same thing with Taiwan. Every single day, all he did was put up workout videos of him running in his backyard or him lifting weights in his house or whatever it was. And the radar gun was showing that he was throwing harder than ever. And you're like, this is going to be great. So I put all my eggs in one basket, and every single one of them broke. Every single one broke. Every single start that he had. It was pure dog shit every start. Every single time he came in the game, it didn't fail. You were losing that game. And it just became more and more obvious as the season went on. It didn't take you long to figure it out either. It was probably like 2 months into the season. You're like, here we go. Every fifth game is just going to be awful.
And with that, we have our final shit on Taiwan Walker segment of the season.
It was awful.
You don't even have an opportunity to be optimistic about his next start because you know that motherfucker ain't starting in the postseason.
Nope. Not even once. He's going to be left off the
NLDS.
He's going to be left off the NLDS. He's going to be left off the CS, the World Series, everything.
Listen, according to Taiwan, the last time he pitched, he had some really good stuff. It was probably his best stuff of the season.
Yeah, everyone said that after his every start. Rob Thompson.
He said that. He said it. He was like, I actually felt like I had good stuff out there.
Yeah.
As he got lit up for fucking 4 runs.
I don't think I did anything wrong. Sounds like it was the ball's fault. Why didn't he leave the field? I told him not to leave the field. I whispered to it before I threw it.
He was losing 13-0. I had some amazing stuff today. Dude, what? Oh, yeah. So he's the one that I had full faith in that completely disappointed me.
I can prove that you didn't have full faith. You just wanted to go on a Taiwan Walker rant, which is completely okay with me.
You just had to get one more in before the end of the year. It's fine. Just admit it.
Because that's it. We don't talk about him. We don't talk about him ever again on this podcast. That's it. Taiwan Walker's dead to us. Yeah. Unless for somehow, some way he finds his way on the roster next season, then we could maybe talk about him. Yeah. But for 2024, that's it.
Those workout videos this offseason are going to hit hard, man.
Unless that phrase is Taiwan Walker's been DFA'd for no apparent reason, but just to do it.
He's been traded to the fucking Montreal Expos.
Sacramento Athletics. Tyler, who is your player that you had high expectations for, but maybe didn't grab that brass ring?
So, I think you alluded to who your guy, who I would probably go with. I have 2 people here. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna save the one that I think you're alluding to, especially for me. I'm gonna go with Bryce Harper. And that's a lot saying he hit 285, 30 home runs, 85 RBIs, but you're fucking Bryce Harper. I honestly came into the season thinking he was going to have an MV3 season where he was, he would have actually challenged Ohtani here for an MVP chance, which he had the nice little stretch that he had when he won Player of the Month in the middle of the season there. But I really expected more. He kind of definitely, fell off the part of the season. I mean, he's still Bryce Harper, so he was still, consistent, but he just wasn't. You expected just that little bit more from him. There was a lot of games where I was just like, Harper's just not here. Like he's just not doing it. And I think he started to come out of it towards the end of the season, and postseason Harper is always a good Harper, but for the regular season, I honestly believe that I expected a lot more out of him. Like I kind of was like looking forward to like a 45, 120 RBI kind of season. Like I wanted him to just go the fuck off.
As he should, because it would have been like one of his first full seasons as a Philly. Like he's had the COVID season, he had the Tommy John season. Like,
Yeah, he's had some issues.
Well, I think the guy that you knew that I was alluding to was Bryson Stott.
Yep.
He was phenomenal last year. He has it's been said that he has shades of Chase Utley. Like you really felt it. I still have a lot of faith in him. It just felt like this year he seemed kind of lost, especially in a year where like the stars were starting to be stars, and we had relied so heavy on that daycare last year. Because without that daycare, I don't think we made the playoffs last year because they carried a lot of the stars. Not having Bryce to start last season, Trey not being Trey, JT Schwarber both had like a month that was good, but the daycare was consistent, and Stott was that like leader on that consistency. And this season, I'm not saying he's terrible, but he feels lost. It didn't look like 2023.
It wasn't him. Like it didn't seem like that. That's what like he's a guy that should be hitting 285 to 300 range. Like he's not going to pop a lot of power, but he's still going to have power surges here and there. Mm-hmm. And you just expected him to be on base a lot more.
Yeah,
and he just was not.
And I didn't feel like he got better towards the end of the season, but he definitely wasn't battling like he was in 2023 at the at bats. Like he would go like 9-10 pitches deep.
Yeah. I don't think he battled as hard, but I do think that's one thing that he still kind of had. He still battled in at bats. It just wasn't as I guess drastic as he has in previous seasons.
I think last year he was the best hitter with an 0-2 count. I think this year he was like close to last. So it like was a drastic shift in where he was to where he is.
Still phenomenal defensively. Like I would take his defense in second any goddamn day.
I still think he's going to get robbed of Gold Glove. I think they're still fucking on Ketel Marte's dick for some dumbass reason. I'll bring up the point now. I was going to bring it up when we got more into the postseason, but since we're talking about Stott, the last this last month of the season, like his stats aren't going to show it, but he was seeing the ball a lot better. You could tell like he's in the stage where I know I've said it on here before. I think we were talking about Bryce Harper when I said it. You could just see a guy when he's hitting the ball well and it's just not falling for him. Like it's just shitty luck. Baseball gods aren't on his side at the time, but he's seeing the ball. Like he's putting it where he wants to put it, and you could kind of see. I felt like you kind of saw his confidence changing a little bit. Like he was starting to understand like, okay, I'm doing what I need to do. It's just not falling. It's gonna fall though. Like for a guy like that, it's always it's gonna happen. And I feel like it's starting to happen for him. And I think I'm gonna just say it now, he's gonna be the biggest reason for our success in the postseason this year.
That's fair.
I think he's gonna be the anchor at the bottom of that lineup. Where they generally have him at 6-7. I think he's going to be very kind of what Castellanos kind of did last season in the division series, where like the first four kind of were wavering a little bit, and then Castellanos was just like, all right, get one on. I'm just going to fucking smash ball. Like I think Stott's going to just be very consistent throughout this postseason.
So let's talk postseason. As we're recording, they're in the fourth and final game of day one of the wild card series. So the Mets have won game one. Right now, the Braves and San Diego are playing as we're recording, and San Diego is up 3-0. The National League was very contentious going into the playoffs. They didn't have a final seeding until not even 12 hours before the first game. Right now, the Phillies got the bye. They're in the NLDS, and they'll be facing either the Brewers or the Mets. Tyler, we'll start with you. You said it a little bit earlier in the show that who you'd prefer to face. What do you think's going to happen, and what's the attack strategy to get to that team?
I was really hoping it'd be the Brewers to beat up on the Mets. I mean, it still can be, but the Mets are just fucking hot, bro. Like they're us of a couple of seasons ago. Like they're just that team that is they just kind of they're just doing everything right, and they have the Lindor effect, where we have the Harper effect, where he just kind of makes the right hits and the right at bats at the right time. I just hope when they come to Philly, because I do think they'll end up beating the Brewers, we can kind of cool them off a little bit, and bring actual Red October, and not let any of those dumbass Met fans into our fucking stadium, and fucking just murder them. I think we got them. I think we can beat the Mets pretty handily, because I think our guys have been there, their guys haven't, so I think that will play a factor. Because even when our guys weren't necessarily there, you still had a lot of experience in the major leagues, from Harper, who had been around for long, JT, Nick, Schwarber had been in the postseason, so like you had the experience there to mix with the young guys, and I don't necessarily see that with the Mets, and I don't trust it. Like, their pitching's been pretty good, but I don't think they can hold up in the postseason, because their bullpen isn't that good.
Erik, what's your thoughts? Who's going to walk away with the wild card, and how do the Phillies prep for them in the divisional series?
Well, I think the Mets are unfortunately going to win. Like Tyler said, I think that they just have this weird run in them that they're going to just keep it going. They're on fire. Kind of nervous about like how we're going to prepare, especially because the Braves have blown it after getting the ones or the first round bye. The Braves have blown it each year, and this year we have that first round bye. So I'm pretty damn nervous to see exactly how we're going to go. And the game on Saturday is apparently at 4:00. So it's one of the early games for the DS, but they're having a simulated game tomorrow. That's what they're allegedly going to do. They're going to have the captain. They're actually going to have captains of the team. They're going to have a simulation. They're actually going to have umpires, all sorts of stuff, and they're going to be pumping in crowd noise. So that could help. Apparently, Thompson and Dombrowski have talked to numerous owners and managers and all sorts of stuff on actually what to do during this bye week. So I hope that they're getting the right help and the right ears to tell them stuff. Like, I hope it's not like Brian Snicker saying, "Yeah, you gotta do this, dude." It works fantastic. Trust me.
Call the Braves like, "Hey, what did you guys do in the bye week? Oh, you can go fuck yourself. That's what you could do.
Yeah,
just hang up."
Yeah. So I hope they're talking to the right people and not, I don't know. I imagine maybe they reach out to Dusty because they've talked to him before. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think the Mets are going to win the series, and then they're going to come to us, and I think we'll win against the Mets.
All right, well, I'm going to go opposite, say the Brewers are going to come back. I think they come out firing out the gates tomorrow because they're at home, so they still have that. And the Mets just fuck the Mets. I do think a DS is going to go to 5. I think we're going to get disappointed in that first game on Saturday. Just for whatever reason, the last month or so, they've had this trend of losing the first game of the goddamn series, almost every goddamn series. But they find a way to fight back.
Nope. Sweeps, baby. Sweeps.
I think it's Game 5. I need it to be Game 5. I have tickets to Game 5. So
that's fair.
Anyway, I do think they advance to the NLCS. The Dodgers make me nervous, but we'll talk about that next week. As we will be down 2 games, they'll be on their off day, so we'll have a weird sense of where we are.
We'll be up 2 games. Let's reword that.
Oh, sorry. We'll have 2 games in the books.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't like the wording of that. That
I
didn't sound
realized
good.
what I said. But that's going to do it for us here on the Jersey Fanatics. Let's go around. Erik, what you got going on?
Nothing.
Oh, God. Tyler, what you got going on?
I got everything, but I can't tell you. It's in
Perfect.
The
check out everything at basementprotocolproductions.com, facebook.com/basementprotocolproductions. And we do have things in the pipeline. We have a filming date set, so there should be stuff coming out by the end of the month of October. And hopefully we'll be celebrating down broad at the end of this series But we'll be back next week with 2 games of the NLDS in the books. And we've been your Jersey Fanatics. I've been Chris the Dace Man Dace. He's been Eric Berezzo.
Hi.
He's been Tyler Freed.
Deuces.
Let's ring that bell, and we'll see you next week.
Ring-a-ling-ling-ling, ding-ding-ding.